Hey, what's good? It's CADILLAKTRACKZ. How's everybody doing? Hey, I wanted to make another video today for the channel. This one's gonna be a little bit different because I wanted to kind of talk to y'all and kind of connect with my customers. So appreciate everybody showing support on my channel. As you know, on my channel, I just focus on the Machine MK3 and Fruity Loops and how to use Machine and Fruity Loops together. So I'm just making a video today. I kind of wanted to let everybody know. I kind of go down, memory lane, let everybody know how the template got started and kind of walk through a beat with y'all. I'm about to start something, so I just figured I'd just go ahead and make a video, just kind of freestyling it. And so I'm just pulling up Fruity Loops, just loaded it up. Takes a long time for my Fruity Loops to load. And once it does load up, I need to, I don't know, I need to finish one of these. I know, shit. I just pick one. But I wanted to tell y'all about the template. Lately, a lot of people have been getting the templates. I really appreciate that. I hope y'all watch my other videos. My channel has quick tip videos where I go over how to use Machine and Fruity Loops together. So definitely watch those videos. They're like a minute or two long. There's 150 of them, and they show you all type of tips, how to do stuff on Fruity Loops, how to do stuff on Machine. Anybody who watches those movies, those little clips, and basically understands how to do all those functions, it makes you like a power user. You're going to be able to help other people out, and you're going to be able to maneuver around the system without having questions where you're trying to reach out. You'll be able to figure things out. And it's a lot of little stuff. And kind of brings me to my point, with Fruity Loops and, how I made the template and how it's come to be. I've been using Fruity Loops a long time, since I was younger. I think I got it. There used to be a program called like Shazam or Shareware or something where we would download music, you know. And somebody had downloaded Fruity Loops and they gave me a copy. And I used to have a horrible, horrible computer at my mother's house. But I got Fruity Loops on it and we would make beats on there. And they would sound horrible. And this is a long time ago. It was Fruity Loops 3.5 I started on. And so the beats were just horrible and we would just have a lot of fun with it. And that's how I kind of learned how to use Fruity Loops. Back then, there was no YouTube videos, and I kind of had to learn everything on my own. That's how I am with computers. I really like Windows computers, and I've always just kind of, there's been a lot of times where when I'm just sitting at home, I'll just start going through the computer, going through files, and just going deep into the computer, checking everything out, every option available. I want to know what it is, what it does, and just kind of looking around, snooping in the computer. And that's how I've come to learn how to use the Windows systems very well. And also it's how I learned Fruity Loops. It's how I learned, Machine. Nowadays it's a lot of information available. You can go on YouTube, you can watch a video and learn something, but I really feel like the best way to really learn and like the way you really, you really connect with it is just sitting down at it and just pushing buttons. Like, what does this button do? And, taking time to observe the cause and effect of everything that you do and what the different functions do and what buttons do. And then also reading, take a little time to read an article or a paragraph, about a certain function. It'll really stick with you. So I got the Fruity Loops loaded up. You can see this is my machine right here. Rule 1, always cover your machine. Don't just let it sit there. Like, it'll get dust in the pads and it won't be as good anymore because you didn't cover it. So all you gotta do is cover it. I don't cover my piano. It's so dirty and dusty. When I touch a key, it's got dirt on it. But my machine, it's got no dust on it. All right, so here's a little something I was starting up. Little beat. Looks like I got a kick snare. I can't remember. So I wanted to talk about the template. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this beat on. Let's see what it sounds like real quick. I forgot what it is. One of the things I do is I always go here to my audio buffer. And a lot of times on the buffer, you can see up here on the screen, I set my buffer, I start off real low, like it's 64 samples. So my input latency is 2 milliseconds. Yeah. I know a lot of y'all are not doing that, and you're probably wondering why or how or whatever, but it's important you understand why you do that anyway. But like, it's weird. People are making beats and they don't even, it's not necessary to do that, for one. It just depends on your computer. But the lower the buffer, you know, the faster things will respond. So if I hit a pad, it'll respond very quickly, or if I hit a key, it'll respond very quickly. The higher the buffer, the less the response time is. Problem is, if you don't know that, then you get used to how it is, you know. So if you got a high buffer and you always have a high buffer, you don't know any better. You don't know what it's like to have it lower. So you kind of get used to when you start to be able to maneuver with the higher buffer, and then you just get used to it, and you can make the whole beat like that. You know, it doesn't matter because you're used to it, you know. But it is a big difference from having a fast response and a slow response, especially when you're recording MIDI. If you're just using your computer and clicking stuff in, there's no problem with that. A lot of people are making $1 million doing that. Then you really don't have to worry about stuff like that buffer. But when you're playing the keyboard, or you got this machine and you're trying to get these things to come in without any latency, or you know, any you want everything to come in on time, quantized and in sync, then you really need to try to get the buffer down low. And as you know, when you put the buffer down low, it makes the computer try harder. Everybody thinks their computer is so powerful. They don't even really push it or test it because they don't put the buffer down low. Like, put your buffer down low and see how powerful your computer is, because it'll really tax the CPU. But this is a little melody I made. It looks like I got a Hive and a Nexus. This is what my template looks like. Remember, when you open up the template, it has all these different options. These are different channels that are linked to the pads on machine. And look at my machine. You can see that my machine right now is in machine mode. So when I start up machine or Fruity Loops, it should be in machine mode. All I have to do is hold down Shift and push MIDI, which I can't do with one hand. Shit. Shift and MIDI, and it lights up blue, and here's my template. So my template, it runs at the same time as machine. Just push a button, 2 buttons at the same time, and then it switches over to my template. So don't think that if you have my template, it's going to slow you down or keep you from doing something. I'm trying to show y'all, and I try to stress that you can use them together, work together. Your workflow should be smooth, you know. Machine has good functions, and you should be able to use them on Fruity Loops, but you can't unless you do it the way I show you, or you do another way that leads you to the way I showed you, you know. So with this template, I'm gonna go ahead and play this beat, but with the template, man, oh shit. Now, once you get the beat going like this, I have to turn the buffer up. It's like I said, I start at 2 milliseconds. Once I start adding different samples and stuff and everything, that's when I have to turn the buffer up. But by that time, I've already laid down my notes on the piano and the keyboard. So therefore, I'm not actually inputting MIDI anymore. So it's not going to come in late because I'm done with the inputting. Now I'm doing other stuff. So I'll turn the buffer up. And that's what it sounds like. Man, I really need to mix that. It sounds like mumble jumble. So yeah, the template. Like when I first started this template, I was in like a going through a midlife crisis. But long story short, I was in a studio. I'd rented a studio out, and I would sit in this studio all day and make music, isolate myself from the world. And it was like a dream come true to have this place and to do this. And that's what I would do. And I was kind of pursuing my passion. And it all came to an end. And I had to leave the studio and go back and stay with my girlfriend, you know. So when it came to an end and I had to leave the studio, I just ran out of money to afford to pay the rent indefinitely. So when I went to go leave the studio, that's when When I left the studio, I hate how. When I left the studio, that's when Machine MK3 came out, and I couldn't afford it. It was $600, and I was like, "Fuck, I really want it. I had to have it." So I had an MK Micro, the original machine, I believe. Not the original, but the Micro, the small one. And that was my introduction in the machine. When I first got that, I really liked how it added sounds. It has all these sounds and a huge sound bank that I could use to add to my Fruity Loops and make beats. So when I first got it, the MK3, I basically sold my Micro so that I'd be able to afford the MK3. And then I went ahead and I started selling all this other gear that I had, stuff that I had that I wasn't using. I had a big mixer board. I had some other stuff, you know, nice pieces of hardware, but I wasn't using them on the daily. And so I sold them all, and I took that money and I bought the MK3. And the template, you know, originally started on the Micro. I had the Micro, and there's somebody on the internet, he's a power user. He's a Fruity Loops power user. And I say power user, like he's in all the forums. He's all over the internet. He answers everybody's questions about how to do stuff. I don't know if he works for the company or what, part of Fruity Loops. And he had come up with the template for the Micro. And on his template, you could do stuff like use the play, the stop, and the record button. So that's how I first became aware that it was possible to, you know, use those type of functions inside of Fruity Loops, you know. And being a long-time Fruity Loops user, you know, I imagine that it might be possible to do a little bit more too. And like I say, you know, I like to play on the computer sometimes. And that's what I did. So I just started playing with that Micro and on my computer. And like I said, I already knew that I could do some functions. So I started playing with it and just trying to do more functions. I opened up Controller Editor. And you know, Controller Editor is how the template works. You have to go to Controller Editor and you have to assign functions. The problem is, you know, just like a lot of y'all do, I didn't know what function, how to do it. So of course, I went online and I looked up, and I'm trying to, you know, see if anybody had put any information online about how to, you know, connect my machine to Fruity Loops. And I started to find that there was nobody online, that there was no information anywhere. And I'm very good at finding stuff online. I'm like the best. And I'm not even gonna go into that, but I couldn't find anything on there about how to link, you know, Fruity Loops and machine together. And you know, it brings me to another thing about my YouTube channel. I went on YouTube basically, and I started looking, you know, I was like, there has to be somebody on YouTube showing how to do it, because YouTube people show everything. And this was a while back when I first got the MK3. I went on there and there was no videos about how to use machine and Fruity Loops together. Nobody had any information on it. And it kind of reminded me of what I had heard from the guy on vidIQ. vidIQ is a channel where he shows you how to get millions of followers on YouTube. It just shows you how to be a better YouTuber, I guess. And one of the things he said was that if you get a subject or something that no one else has covered and you're the first one to cover it, you know, all the traffic will go to you and you'll dominate that or whatever, and you'll get views and da-da-da. And so, you know, seeing that nobody had any machine and Fruity Loop stuff, I went on there and I made a video. It was my first video. It said how to use machine and Fruity Loops together. And this is after I'd kind of, you know, figured out some things, how to link them together. I didn't have the template yet, but I knew how to link them together because I knew Fruity Loops very well. Just MIDI in and MIDI routing and stuff like that. And so I made that video right there, and I showed everybody, you know, how to link them together, the mixer on Fruity Loops and the mixer on machine and the pads and stuff like that. And I guess my video was one of the first videos. That video did very well. It's my best video to date. It's got like almost 30K, maybe 40K views. Like most of my videos will get like 100 views or 200, but that one, you know, 20,000, 30,000. And it brought a lot of traffic, you know. If you go to YouTube and you search machine and Fruity Loops, I pop up. You know, the guy was right. You know, if you're the first one on a subject, you can kind of dominate it, and that's how you can, you know, get you a little niche or whatever. And that's why y'all are on my channel. Like, I must have popped up or you searched in the search bar and I popped up. And that's how the YouTube algorithm works, you know. It's trying to refer you to whoever is the originator or the most popular, if you will. Anyway, you know, it brought people to my channel, and that's when I started making my quick tips. You know, I was like, man, all these people are here. I should make videos or tips on how to do stuff. What sound is this? All right, I'm pushing a button. I don't hear anything, so that's why I open my mixer. I still don't hear anything. There it is. I don't have any melody on this yet. I don't need one either. That's why I'm about to delete this instrument. So, where was I? I was talking about my channel and, you know, bringing people to my channel. So it brought a lot of people to my channel, and so I realized I should help everybody by making quick tips. So I started making videos that were just a minute long. I know people don't like to watch long videos, so I made little short snippet, 1 minute, 2 minute long videos, and I started showing people how to do stuff on Fruity Loops, just simple everyday functions that I would see a lot of people on these forums like Reddit, or on the Fruity Loops Reddit, or the Machine Reddit, or like the Machine forum page, or the FL forums. I would see people asking these questions that were kind of basic, and it was almost like, wow, they never took any time to like even read or even try to figure it out. They just asked someone else, you know, what is wrong? And so I started making these tips where I could show people, you know, how to do different things, and that brought a little bit of traffic to the channel, but it brought a lot more. It kind of supported that first video, how to use Machine and Fruity Loops, and that's where I grew my channel up. And you know, I was sitting alone with the Machine at my girlfriend's house, and I would make beats and stuff. And I don't know, really, one day I just kind of like I do, you know, sit down when I'm bored, and I'm just pushing buttons and messing with stuff, looking around, snooping around the computer, snooping around Machine. Just, I was imagining in my head, you know, if I could do this, if I could do that. And I started trying different stuff. And I basically came across one of the functions for my template. I did something on, I set up a certain configuration, and I saw a response on Fruity Loops. I was like, wait, what was that? You know, what did I just push a button and it did something? And I started to see that, you know, if I had these certain settings, that Fruity Loops would respond this way. And it was a certain method that I was using, and it was really just trial and error. I was just, you know, randomly trying different things, and that's how I came across one function for my template. And once I got one function, I kind of use that to kind of guide me or point me in the right direction to try other small variations of, you know, of the sequence of settings that I had. And sooner or later, different functions started popping up, and I wrote them down on a piece of paper, and before you knew it, I had like a little key, and it was all these little functions, all these things that I could do. And so I kind of figured, you know, there's probably more that I wasn't seeing, because there's a lot of different, you know, combinations of settings you can use. So I tried, you know, for a while, going through different settings and combinations and writing them down, writing this key. And after a while, I had a lot of different things I could do on Fruity Loops. So once I figured out the key, I wrote it down, and I started assigning functions. But the big thing was that I wanted to be able to play the pads, and I wanted to play scale mode, because Machine has scale mode. And I was like, it'd be so nice if I could open up an instrument in Fruity Loops and then start playing scale mode on the pad, because I'm not a piano player. I can't really play all the scales on the piano. And, you know, clicking them in is kind of... So I was like, if I could just play the scales in scale mode. And so that's what I did. I took some time, and I took a day or 2 or 3. It was such a headache. But I mapped out the piano keys for the minor scales onto the pads in Machine MIDI mode. And it took so long, because if I would make a scale and I messed up on one key and I didn't catch that I messed up, like when I would go back over the scale, it would be wrong, and I would have to literally like start the whole scale over. So it had to be right. So that took a long time. That took a long time. And eventually I got through all the keys. I did like A key, B key, C key. After that, it was like the day was over. And then I came back and I did a few more keys. And then another day I did a few more keys. Before you knew it, I had mapped out the scales for all the keys. I used my key with the functions and I started making those different settings, you know, to be able to open up different screens and do different things. And that's how I kind of put the basics for the template together, man. So it was a lot of trial and error, and it was a lot of getting lucky, and like a lot of perseverance, just like keep messing with it and keep messing with it. After I put the template together, I would just spend time trying to think what I could add to it, or if I could find another function. And I did. Over time, I started finding more functions, and I started adding more to the template. And I ended up deciding to put the template, once it was put together, I knew like this is real big, like this is real great. And I just saw how awesome it was. And I was like, this is real nice because it has all these scales, all these functions. It let me use Machine and Fruity Loops together, and they're all linked up, and it was just perfect. And I was like, people would really appreciate this. But then I was like, I'd never sold anything online really. I've been trying to sell beats and they wouldn't even sell. So I'm like, no one's going to really buy the template. And like, so I just put it up and I made it available. And I knew in my heart, I was like, this thing is very good. It's worth it, way worth it. And I'm going to put it out there because somebody is really going to appreciate this, just like I did. And, when I put it out there, nothing really happened. Nobody really bought the template. My channel only had like less than 100 followers. And just over time, man, like I started selling the template. People started buying it, and here we are like 2 years later, and people are still buying the template. And like that template is like, it's one of the best things I've ever done because it helps y'all. It's helped me like great. Like when I made that template, I wasn't even working. That thing paid my bills for like a year when I wasn't working. And it's still, to this day, it still does it. Like right now, I would think I just ran out of short on money like the other day. And like I'm waking up to template sales, and I really appreciate y'all. Like y'all don't know how much joy it brings to my life when I see these templates and I answer y'all's questions when y'all buy the template. And like making this video just puts a big smile on my face. Like I'm so happy that I did this, and I'm so happy that y'all like it. And people write me and they're like, man, this template is great. And like, I know you did a lot of work. And I did, man. I put a lot of work into it. And some of the people, they see that and they reach out to me, and I'm like, man, it makes it all worthwhile. But then I start to see also that a lot of people are getting the template and they don't know how to use it. It's kind of like how we get these programs and these synths and these plugins. Like it's very typical with music production. You get something and you don't know how to use it. It's kind of like, it's weird. One thing I noticed too, like, and I didn't like it. I don't like how producers prey on other producers. It's like, instead of selling beats, I'll just sell people drum kits, and like they prey on these people's passion to become successful. And people pour money into their products, or like it could be a seminar or video. Like they'll just like talk to you and be like, join my club and I'll talk to you. And it's weird, but they'll just take everyone's money from the producer community, and they won't offer anything back. Nothing that'll really help anybody, It's weird. But I felt like I wasn't doing that, and it made me proud because I was actually offering something. I'm offering this template. This is a tool that you can really use, and I'm not selling you a dream, okay? And so I felt really good, and I stand behind my product. And so the templates became a reality, and like I said, over time, man, I just started looking into it and trying to add more stuff. I added a lot more stuff. I added more scales, more functions, more features. Wow, I added the gross beat, the trick. Like I dug in deep. So the following months, I just kept adding stuff. I just kept adding stuff, and then eventually I got to the point where the template was full, you know. And like I said, people I noticed weren't, learning how to use it. They weren't using it right. I get a lot of questions. People buy the template still and they can't even open it. And I guess it's not exactly cut and dry understanding how to open it, but like it does take a little computer, literacy. Just, I mean, you have to maybe try one or two things if this doesn't, but so I had to make these videos so I could start to show people how to use the template. And I'm still making videos now I kind of make videos going over the workflow. I want to show people how to do stuff with the template. And so I've been ramping and ranting and rumbling, and basically I just wanted to give y'all a little spiel about the template. And so that's basically how it came to be, trial and error, and just by chance. And I put it together. It took a lot of hard work, and I put it out there. At first, nobody responded, but now, people are starting to see and notice it. And I really try to drill home in these videos. If you watch them, you see I say the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again. And I'm doing the same thing over and over and over. And I'm just showing you the same stuff over and over, how to use Machine and Fruity Loops. Because if you go anywhere on these forums and these posts, there's a lot of confusion. People are just saying, hey, man, I'm not even going to do it because it's a stupid program. Machine doesn't respond to Fruity Loops and Fruity Loops doesn't. And it's too big of a headache to route this to that. And why would I route this to this and drag MIDI to here? And why do I do all of this when I could just use this other program? And they just, they're frustrated, basically. And I was too. That's why I was like, this has to work. And there's got to be a way and to put them together. And that's why I made the template, so I can ease that frustration and make a smooth workflow. Machine has like way too much to offer. It's really great. It's really good. And then Fruity Loops has a lot to offer, and it's real good. And I couldn't put it in my heart to put it away. I walked away from Fruity Loops for a few years, man. I was on Ableton way before this whole Ableton wave. I mean, way back in the day when it was like Fruity Loops 3 and 4 and 5. Ableton first came out, I tried it and I ran with it. I used to run with Reason, and I just had to come back home to Fruity Loops because it's where I started. And I noticed that I kind of left it. I walked away from it because I felt like it wasn't doing me good. And then I start to see, other people becoming very successful, with their relationship with it. And it kind of made me question mine, and I kind of had to go back home to my roots. And I'm glad I did. It's really not about having new gear and having new stuff. It's about learning how to use what you have. And so, the time I went back to Fruity Loops was about the time that this huge boom that we have right now came. This big YouTube boom where I can go on YouTube and I can learn anything I want to learn, Everyone will show me how to do everything. And so I came back in at the right time, and all these producers and like all these youngsters, internet money, and and they started showing all these videos about how to do this and that, and I soaked it all up, man. And I just been soaking it up. And at this point today, and I've noticed for like the last several months, maybe a year, it's just like redundant. Every video is the same. You're just covering stuff that it's getting very boring. I used to like going on YouTube and seeing what the people that I'm following had. Now I go on YouTube, there's nothing like interesting at all on there. I guess we kind of played it out kind of fast, but I'm sure like there will be a new wave or whatever. But this is the template, man. I wanted to make or show y'all something on this video about the template. I hate to show y'all now because nobody actually is listening this long on the video anyway. But this is a beat that I'm starting right now. Let me just show you a few things though, like to consider about the template. Okay. Fruity Loops is going right now. And you can see my template is going also. These are the drums. Let me show you something. When I push the edit right here, you can see the notes. I'm trying to zoom out. Shit, what the fuck? We push stop and it stops. It's because it's set up, it's synced on the transport. You might be able to get these transports to work on your Fruity Loops without having the template if you kind of try a few things. But I think that's an option that they've made available. But note how the drums are still in machine. We can make our drums on machine or Fruity Loops. We get to pick or choose. We don't have to be confined to one. If you like them on Fruity Loops, do it on there. I actually had a little thing where I was trying to figure out which one's better, Fruity Loops or machine. And at the end of the day, man, I realized like you can't compare them. Like I can't say one is better. I can make very good drum patterns on Fruity Loops, very good, and I can also do very good drum patterns on machine, and they're different because it's like I would do or push certain sounds or percussion elements at certain times. I would do it different because I'm using my fingers. It's just different, but it's hard to say which one's better. So pick or choose. A lot of times what I do is I do a little bit of both. So you can see we have these notes up here and I got notes down here, and they're different notes. So look at my mixer. Since the beat is coming through originally from machine, we mix our drums on machine. The drums are also coming through on Fruity Loops. So alright, so I kind of need to do something with this beat or whatever. It's just a loop right now. But I wanted to show y'all that. And then it has another part where I take this off, the 808, and I put on this sub bass, and it just sounds different. Let me see how it sounds.